in your work as both a real world AI system developer as well as through the books you've written and recently, this huge amount of expertise you've developed in language models to write this book on language models, you probably have an interesting perspective on AGI and when it could be realized. Do you have any? You just mentioned there that we might have it in the future. Do you have any? Do you want to hazard any guesses in terms of timeline?
When I say that we may we may have it in the future, it's like to say we may have teleportation in the future, and it might work. So, like, yes, it can work, because if we humans we are conscious, then something in nature changed, and I mean changed compared to our predecessors. So we evolved somehow in humans, because what is the difference, the biggest difference between humans and the rest of the of animals? Humans can plan over an infinite horizon. So if some monkeys, some like chimpanzee and like the most developed ones, they can use tools, because previously it was considered that only humans can use tools. But now we, after like decades of research, we know that even some birds can use tools. For example, I think that it's crows that can they have a nut, and they can throw it from a height, and it falls and it cracked. And even when they live in the city, they can wait for a car. So they wait for a car, then they throw the nut, the car walk over the nut, and nut is broken. So they use tools. Some monkeys can even use tools. So for most animals, they use tools like in this specific moment. So they will not keep their tools for tomorrow. But some monkeys will actually, like you, for example, you give one monkey a stick, and only with this stick she is able to get a banana. So she will get a banana, and when she goes to sleep, she will put the stick under her belly when she sleeps, because she knows that tomorrow she will also need a banana. So, like, this means that some animals can plan one day in the future, 2 days. But if you remove bananas for more than 3 or 4 days, it will throw away the stick. It will not think that maybe in 5 days bananas will be back. But humans will think that I will still keep this stick, because who knows? And we can even plan like many years, like even hundreds years, thousand years. Today we think about saving the planet. Okay, so we think about reducing the consumption of plastic, and we think about like the global warming issue. Why do we do it? Like, we will die maybe in the next 60, 70, 80 years. The planet will be still fine. We do it for the next generation, for our kids, for their kids, and so on. So this is what we managed to gain somehow through evolution. So, so now the question is, how can we get this AGI? So basically, the answer is, like, what inside us is different that makes us planners for infinity versus every other living creature on this earth. If we can answer this question, I think this will be probably the biggest breakthrough, because this is something that our LLMs, or whatever neural network you talk about, this is what they don't have. They don't have the ability to actually plan. So they are reactive. You ask a question, it gives you an answer. Even if you call it agent, they don't really have agency. It's because, like, they might act as agent because in the system prompt you said you are an agent, and your goal is to provide your users with the best information on a specific topic. But this agency didn't come from the agent itself. It came from you. So you instructed it to be an agent. And because the LLM doesn't really understand what it does, it just generate text. Sometimes this agency will be violated. So it will not do what you want it to do. and you cannot really explain why. So it's like a black box. It works or it doesn't, and you don't know why. So if we answer this fundamental question, what makes us like planners for infinity, I think that this is where we will get one step closer to AGI.
Yeah, I would suspect that some of the answer lies in our prefrontal cortex and the ratio of prefrontal cortex that humans have relative to other primates that allows us to kind of maintain a loop through our other sensory cortices over an extended period of time, which brings me to a point that I've talked about on this show before, which is that it seems to me, and it sounds like it may be the case for you as well, that cracking AGI may require modeling the neuroanatomy of of a brain, of a human brain, perhaps, in a more sophisticated way than just scaling up a single kind of architecture like a transformer. That we might need to have different kinds of modules so that we have something like a prefrontal cortex that can be doing this kind of infinite horizon planning that you're describing. And so you have different parts that are connected by large connections kind of pre-planned as opposed to just allowing all of the model weights to be learned in a very fine way across the entire cortex in the same way, across the entire neural network in the same way.
Yeah, and it's not only, well, I simplify it a bit by saying that this is just one thing that will makes us different. But another thing that we also have, and LLMs, for example, don't, is that humans somehow have a feeling about what they know and what they don't know. Okay, so for example, I ask you about, I don't know, about uh, astronomy, okay, like, or about like the universe, stars or galaxies. And if it's not your domain, you will tell me, Andrei, I like the to talk about these topics, but if for you it's something critical, you probably should talk to a specialist, because I can only tell that planets are spins around stars. This is what I know. But LLMs don't have this mechanism to detect that what you ask about wasn't part of its training data, or it was but not in the detail level of detail granular enough to make a to make a to have an opinion that it's worth sharing. So it will still answer you. Like, for example, I made a test a couple of days ago with this O3 Mini from OpenAI. I wanted to see like because um, all previous all models, all LLMs, they have been trained on the web data, and on the web there is a lot of information about my first book. But my third book just came out, so there is really few information, and I'm sure that their cutoff was earlier than the book was released, so they should know anything at all about it. So I asked O3 Mini, like, is my the 100-page language models book good? And what is interesting is that previously you couldn't see this. Currently, they show this, what they call a chain of thought, like this internal discussion before they provide an answer. And I read this chain of thought, and it's funny. It starts by saying, okay, so he asks about this book, but this book looks very different from the previous one. So probably it's some new book. Okay, what do I know about this new book? Not much. Okay, so what do I know about the previous book? Oh, the previous book is XYZ. So this discussion, and then it starts like releasing the final answer, where it just says that, yeah, this new book is very good. It's praised by experts and by readers, and like it delivers content in a very good way. And I'm like, where does it come from? So it just made up the recommendation, and it's based on its internal discussion in which it says, yeah, but I don't have anything about this book. But given that Burkov has a great reputation, this is what I might say. But it doesn't tell it you like in the official answer that it's a pure speculation. It answered this just as if it was like a real deal. So this is where the LLM cannot really understand this difference between I'm sure about this, I'm less sure about this, I'm totally like I can be totally wrong. So again, if we can solve this, this will be additional next step to AGI. So the model that can be reliably self observing and self criticizing. So saying that I would love to help you, but here I feel like I'm in the domain where I cannot be reliable. This is, and by the way, they try to fine tune models to tell this, but it doesn't work this way. So basically, for example, some of models, especially released by Quen, like the Chinese company, so they decided to fine tune their models to say I don't know this person. So previously, for example, there is information about you online. So you can ask a model, who is John Krohn? And it might say, well, he's a podcast host, book writer, but it might also say that you are a Ukrainian footballer like me. So to avoid being, ridiculized, so like people Google them, people ask about themselves. They know that some information is online, but it comes out totally made up. So they decided that they will fine tune their models to say, I don't know anything about this person, and they fine tuned it on by giving the names of really famous people, and they say, let's go answer, and then they give some just random names, people who don't exist online or very small footprint, and they say answer I don't know. But it's funny because I ask who is Andrei Burkov, it says first time hear this name, don't know anything. And then I say who wrote the 100-page machine learning book? Oh, it's written by Andrei Burkov. Like, you just told me that you don't know. So no, they try to create some hacks around it, but it's not really training a model to recognize where it can be wrong.